live, brother. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. As everybody can see, we're live from Orlando, Florida. I'm actually at Disney World with the wife this weekend, kind of hanging out. Hit a couple of parks yesterday and today, and we'll be through here through Tuesday, man. But Jeremy was holding it down, man. He's been grinding for about 4 or 5 hours tonight, or 4 or 5 hours today. So y'all bear with me. I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is going to be. I know Jeremy just paused up there real good. I may have to just start turning things off as we go through here, but definitely excited, man. First game's out of the way. I know I had some jitters going into it. Didn't know how I was going to wind up, and then I got pretty close, man. If they wouldn't score that touchdown, kick field goal, I'd have nailed the score at 52-6. But you try to get your third, fourth string guys in there, and obviously gave up that touchdown, man. Your thoughts on tonight's football game?
Yeah, you had the jitters. I had 55-3, so we were both pretty close. Both got in the 50-point threshold. Really thought that Texas defense, and again, it was a late touchdown to get them to 10. So the first defense played very, very well. Held them to 3 points for most of the game, but it was good seeing a lot of kids get in there and make plays. Like Jalen Gilbo was great. Justice Finkley. They held. I mean, Ian Burke playing spy later on in the game was really good. Really impressed with, of course, the guy everybody's going to be talking about coming out of here is Jatavian Sanders. Demarvion Overshown from the edge, but jitters. I think Gwen had jitters. That first possession went 0 for 2, threw a pick. You saw that conversation he had with Coach Sarkisian on the sideline. Kind of got his nerves under control, and from then on, I think the next stat I saw said he was 7 for 7 since, and ended up throwing a touchdown pass. And it looks like him and Jatavian Sanders are going to be that dynamic duo for Texas for a while now, for a while to be. I mean, they're both, Jatavian's a sophomore, Quinn's a freshman, and then 5. Just get the ball to 5 and let him do his thing. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man, absolutely. A lot of they're going to go back to obviously watching film. They're going to cut up film tonight, cut up film tomorrow, and then they're going to get these guys in there to watch the film. But overall, I'm going to tell you, 29, 20 before, obviously you start letting your younger guys get in there, 29 rushes for 36 yards total is what it was going into, I think, the fourth quarter. Going back and look at Rice, you actually gave to Rice, you gave well over 100 yards. So what I wanted to see tonight, did you get pressure from the inside? Did your defensive tackles get in? Did they cause havoc? Absolutely. And again, you're playing a team like ULM, but anytime you play an opponent like them, your talent should outmatch them, and that's exactly what happened tonight. The other thing I was excited about is you seen from the offensive line that they were actually picking up stunts in in concert. Like it was a wonderful thing to see. I think they gave up one sack while they were out there. The other 2 sacks came, when Hudson Card came in the game. But one sack from this 2 true freshmen sitting on this line in their first game in front of 100,000 fans. You can't beat it, man. Kelvin Banks, when he went down, it was like an uh-oh moment. Then he ran back out there, but he's got pretty ass feet, man. Really, really good feet.
Scoring in all 3 phases of the game. Again, getting that punt block off the very first possession from ULM. Had him inside the 20. Deshaun Jameson gets in there, utilizes his speed, blocks the punt. Keelan Robinson recovers it in the end zone. Touchdown Texas right off the jump. So yeah, exciting. And I know people are starting to already turn the page to Alabama, and I want to address this real quick. Your team went out there and won 52-10. It was 52-3 late into the fourth quarter. They got a garbage time touchdown. I don't know what scoreline fans would have been happy with to think that we could compete with Alabama. Again, I'm not saying we're going to beat them. I'm not saying they're going to drag us. What I do know is that both teams are going to get better from game 1 to game 2. You saw a lot of good things out there this week and stuff to build on. But like you said, you're not going to learn much against ULM. You should go out there and put that type of butt whooping on them. But I want to let this thing. I want to rewatch it, number one, and see for myself. Slow it down, rewind it, go back, and find some things that we need to get better at, and things that we did really, really well. I didn't see as much press man coverage as I thought I'd see out of the defense, but like you said, that interior defensive line did everything I asked them to do. And that's just be troublemakers in there and put pressure on the quarterback. They ran by the quarterback a couple times, got deep in there, and then the quarterback was able to run the ball a little bit. But I know you threw up the rushing numbers at one point. You mind? I think you got the statistics up, giving us the rushing numbers for ULM real quick.
Yeah, so obviously it got a little worse as time went on into the third and fourth quarter, but 92 total rushing, so 41 attempts, 92 rushing yards for 2.2 yards per rush, 2.2 yards per rush, and one of them came like 23 yards at the end of that at the end of the game there in garbage time. But yeah, you're talking about 2.2 yards per rush. We didn't actually feel like we run the ball that much tonight. It kind of felt a little backwards, but it may have been trying to get Quinn Ewers, who hadn't played a game in damn near 2 years, the opportunity to throw the ball around a little bit. I think when you were talking about just now, you were talking about, the what people going on to the Bama game and what should you expect and what should you expect. To me, you went out there and you played a whole bunch of freshmen and sophomores, to include your quarterback, to include 2 offensive linemen. Jalen Gilbo showed the hell out, multiple series. But one of the questions I have for you, Jeremy, because you're my analytics guy, man, did it look like they were running more of a 4-3, a 4-down lineman and 3 linebackers at some particular points during this game?
I think they definitely did. And when the depth chart came out and I kind of posted or talked about it when we saw it, that Alfred Collins had moved back inside to a defensive tackle role and stopped playing end. They were definitely 4-down linemen. And even when they would bring 3-down linemen late in the game, you saw Ethan Burke playing stand up as a spy middle linebacker. I'd have to go back and do snap counts, and PFF will give us that information tomorrow about, schemes and alignments and stuff like that. But you talking about play, you didn't feel like the team ran the ball that much. They ran the ball 29 times. And threw the ball 29 times for a total of 58 plays. So you still only ran 58 plays. That's not where I want to be. I want to be in that low 70 range. But on 58 plays, you scored 52 points. Now I realized that one was a defensive turnover for a touchdown and one was a block punt for a touchdown. But out of those, what did it say? 58 plays. You were pretty efficient. You were putting the ball in the end zone. You scored 21 points in the third quarter. You scored 14 points. And that's what we asked for, right? I get it at ULM, but you asked that they come out in the third and fourth quarter and continue to play ball, and they did that well into the third quarter. I think Hudson Card came in with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and I texted you before that drive began, and I said, "Hey, is Quinn's time up? Are they going to bring in Hudson?" And you thought he'd get one more series, but lo and behold, number 1 came in, and it got sloppy. It got really sloppy, both in the offensive line. I don't know if it's him just still having that hitch and not getting the ball out of his hands, or just second team lineman and protection broke down. But as soon as Quinn Ewers left the game, it got a little bit sloppy on the offensive side.
Yeah. So Bijan, we talked about how many touches Bijan would get. Bijan got 10 carries for 71 yards at 7.1 yards per carry. You kind of expected that. And then he had 3 receptions for a total of 111 yards. So 13 touches for 111 yards tonight. Not a lot, man. Everybody played, dude. You're talking about Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson, Jonathan Brooks, Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue, Jatavian Sanders, Casey Kane, Bijan Robinson, Jordan Worthy, Xavier Worthy. Hell, Gabe Sulser caught him a pass. Troy Murray caught his first pass as a Texas Longhorn tonight. Happy to see that. Even Gunnar Helm and Savion Red got involved.
9 different receivers. Yep, 9 different receivers touched the ball. And I hope we answered your questions there, but J-Bo, because I know you shot up a $9.99 super chat, and we really appreciate it. And basically, you were asking us what we saw today, change our opinion on Alabama. I can't really give you that until I go back and rewatch the film. Again, when you're managing this chat and trying to pay attention to certain things, got a whole lot of stuff going on. You hate to jump to conclusions without going back and looking at the film. But like I said earlier, I feel really good about this game because, like I said, Clint said earlier, you played everybody. Nobody got injured. Kelvin Banks rolled his ankle, quickly came back out there the next play. That's great. You scored in all 3 phases, so you showed that you had the ability to turn turnovers into touchdowns, which we talked about. And then anytime you can get a special teams score, it's definitely beneficial. And that's how good teams win. And then I think the turnover battle ended up being even. I think we got a turnover, they got a turnover. they got their first one on our first possession, and of course everybody knows Deshaun Jameson got the pick six, and Jalen Gilbo, man, on that drive specifically, him at that star position, getting in the backfield on 2 successive plays, one to have the quarterback throw the ball in the dirt, and the next one to kind of rush him and then get a tip ball at the line of scrimmage, and Deshaun Jameson picks it off and runs it for a touchdown. But I want to thank Mr. Beckham for becoming a member of the Inner Circle. We really appreciate that. The in-game chat really, really helped us show what this Saturday experience with Texas Football Talk is going to be. If you're a member of the Inner Circle, it's going to look just like it did today. Except Clint will be back home and he'll be there with me for Alabama. But that was to showcase it for everyone. Beginning next week is just going to be for Inner Circle members only for Alabama, and then continuing on the rest of the year. But really appreciate everybody that came out and watched the game with us essentially.
Yeah, it was really fun. I know at one particular point, I think we had 200-something people in there, kind of in the chat, either watching or talking. But it was awesome, man. So let's go back to sleepless nights, man. And this thing we got to talk about, elephant in the room, and that is the obviously special teams, man. The between the field goal, the botch catch there by Pearson, and then Pearson not getting the punt off and looking like a rugby player. Thank goodness he played a little bit of rugby, because he put himself in in the best situation he could after he dropped that ball, man. But he went 1 for 2 on field goals. One of them was just a disaster. And then, the first time you run the punt team out there, one of them, it was the first one was a disaster, turned in, at least he got it off his foot. And then the second one looked like it almost got blocked. Those are concerns for me going into Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to be able to kick field goals. You're going to have to run the punt team out there. You're not going to be able to score on Alabama every time you get the ball. So those are definitely concerns, man. Probably for us and Steve Sarkisian. Yeah.
If folks ask us what we think about, playing Alabama, that's the first thing. You got to be fundamentally sound. You can't commit penalties. You can't turn the football over, and you can't have special teams mistakes. Again, those turn the field. You're punting the ball inside your own territory. You drop the ball, and they get the ball in plus territory, probably 35 going in. Not good business for Bryce Young and that offense. So stuff like that, and the operation, the field goal. Yeah, I understand there's a brand new deep snapper, long snapper, a brand new holder, and a brand new kicker. But that operation had a lot of time in the fall to get those things ironed out. And I realize they don't kick in front of 100,000 people in the fall. That probably adds a little extra pressure, probably get rushed. Your hands are sweating, slippery maybe, I don't know, because you're nervous or whatever. But you just got to rely on your fundamentals and technique and the repetitions in which you practice throughout the spring and the fall and execute. Because that's the one bugaboo, like you said, that Texas had in this game. Because like I say, I can write off the garbage time touchdown to there's guys in there that are getting experience. But yeah, the field goal unit needs to get cleaned up, and the punt team needs to get cleaned up. Absolutely.
Candace Queen B here, heading home, but just wanted to say, Keandre, he showed out tonight, man. He got pressure. Hell, he got him a sack tonight. I think we had three total sacks, a sack and a half from
88.
Barryn Sorrell. Showed up tonight, man. He's a beast. I tell you what, 17 coming off that end too, man. And Javon Tapp looks different. I know it was at the end of the game. He got some playing time, but he definitely looks different, man. In the Texas uniform, Javon Tapp. So I'm going to watch out for him too.
And that's the thing is when you're rep, right? As soon as we get off the post-game show, I got up at 4:30, but as soon as I get off the post-game show, if Longhorn Network's done with their post-game show, I'm going to dive right back into this film. Probably put myself to bed about 2:30 in the morning because I'm on vacation until the 14th of September. So I'll come down there and see Clint. So I'll spend some time because I just go back to when you're rep, right? Regardless if 17 was in there versus reserve lineman from University of Louisiana Monroe, when he gets in there, he needs to be successful. He needs to be that high 4-star guy that we brought in last year that's gonna cause problems. And like you saw that out of a lot of young kids today. And when we talked about the depth chart, all seven of the freshman offensive linemen were inside that depth chart on the 2D. And they came out there and they played well. Turnovers were at a minimum. They were probably better than what I thought they would have been. To have penalties, 5 total penalties for the whole game. When you're running guys in and out, you got different quarterbacks coming in, you got different receiving groups coming in. Was very pleased with that. I'd like to win the turnover battle. I'd like to not end up the game at 0. I'd like to have one or two in our favor, especially when you're playing a team like this and you're getting the kind of rush that you're getting.
Yeah,
41 rushing attempts for 92 yards for an average of, I'm going to try to do simple math, 2.3 yards per carry for them. I like that.
So, yeah, I tell you, you found out Ja'Tavion Sanders is going to be the guy. Overshown played his ass off tonight. Feels like we got a little bit more team speed on the defensive side of the ball, or we're just getting to the ball carrier faster. Tackles were there. There were a couple of times, obviously, you let some plays leak out a little bit. At one particular point, Vernon Broughton didn't even see the quarterback run by him. He was in another gap, and the quarterback just kind of slyly went by him. But you didn't see, like, again, this is the first game of the year, and you're hoping that one of the things probably what you're going to see is probably missed tackles. And I didn't see a lot of missed tackles tonight. Felt like we were gang tackling. We were getting to the ball. Felt like we had team speed to the outside. Every time we got it out to the outside, we kept pushing it more and more to the outside. I think that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, let your weapons be weapons. And again, that was the one bugaboo tonight out of Quinn. He went 16 for 24, so he had 8 incompletions. That's around 66%, I believe, 2 out of 3 for 225, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Only played 2.5 quarters, but with the deep ball to Worthy, right? So he's getting set. He's got plenty of time. The offensive line did phenomenal for most of the night, giving him a clean pocket. He's able to step into his throws, and he just missed him in the end zone on one. And then I thought Xavier's feet got tangled up with the secondary guy on one of the other ones, and then one he just flat overthrew. So if that combination, along with like if he can use Ja'Tavion Sanders and Bijan Robinson as his security blankets, and he does a really good job of that. He's the guy that'll take his shots, but once he realizes that he's not there, he looks to those guys to get the ball in their hands to make plays. You didn't get the production out of Jordan Whittington tonight. I think he only had 1, 2. He did it. He ended up with 3 receptions for 26 yards. It took him a while to get that first one, but kind of quiet. Casey Kane had just the one long catch for 43 yards. I thought he was going to take that one all the way to the house. So overall, like you said, 9 different receivers caught balls for a total of 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. But that's shuffling guys in and out, right? So Jai Hall, he did dress. Did see him on the sidelines. Don't know if he took any snaps. Didn't see him take any snaps. But that receiver score is deep, and when you're moving in and out like that, maybe Whittington just didn't get comfortable. But like to see more production out of him.
I think one of the things, again, going back to Quinn Ewers, is even if he's flushed out of the pocket, his eyes are always down the field. He's ready to he's ready to throw the ball, and he's really good at finding his checkdowns. Man, he's going through his progressions. Boom, I'm finding my checkdowns. Hell, at one, I think the best play of the night was his little flick to Ja'Tavion Sanders down the sideline. He's out of the pocket. He's getting close to the line, and he just dumped it over his head to Ja'Tavion Sanders and then Ja'Tavion Sanders, obviously took it down the sideline. But I think that's important, man, because go back to some of the quarterbacks we've had is the first option is to run. His is to stay in the pocket. If he gets flushed out of the pocket, he's still looking down the field. Obviously, that first, what was the second throw that he had? He probably shouldn't have thrown it. Had a conversation with Steve Sarkisian. He said, "Hey man, chill out, man. It's gonna be all right. Find your guys." He threw it into a coverage of 3 guys there. So, but really, 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 again, it's ULM. You're going to play Alabama this next week. It's going to be all talk. ESPN is going to be there for game day. It's going to be all over the news. Last time you played them was in the 2009 championship. But let's enjoy this one tonight. We'll get into Alabama tomorrow. Talk a little bit about what we've seen on film, and kind of go from there.
Absolutely. The backup center looks to be in the depth chart that was released prior to the game was Connor Robertson. Was the backup center. I see Herman's question here. It was Connor Robertson who entered the game second. And something that I noticed and we talked about when we were talking about, centers, I'll just get on this real quick because folks said that you can't have a left-handed center. I know you said that DJ Campbell was taking snaps at center. Folks said that there was no way that can happen because he's left-handed. Well, lo and behold, Jake Major snapped this game pretty much primarily with his left hand. I don't know if he's ambidextrous and could switch back and forth, but I know for a fact that he was snapping the ball with his left hand. So there is no limitation in Texas offense or in Kyle Flood's mind to having a left-handed center. But coming out, it was Connor Robertson.
Yeah, I didn't see. Did you see DJ Campbell at all tonight?
I don't remember. I don't remember hearing his name called.
I don't think I've seen DJ Campbell tonight. DJ Campbell or Neto or any of those other true freshmen outside of who started tonight.
Yeah, and Jalil Billingsley, again, a guy that you're not going to see for another I'm going to pull something up real quick. The guy you're not going to see for 5 more games. That's why it's dependent upon, Quentin Ewers to get that connection with Jatavian Sanders, because Gunnar Helm was out there a little bit. Juan Davis was out there at the end of the game. But you're going to see a lot of zero, and it's great. And I think Acho pointed this out during the game, how in fact he's a great inline blocker and what allows him to stay on the field for all 3 downs of an offensive possession. So he is going to be necessary as Jalil Billingsley closes out this suspension. And I don't have a whole lot of information about the suspension, the why, and I saw rumors about some stuff at Alabama, but I can't say for sure exactly why he's not playing.
Neto and Campbell played the 4 tonight. I just didn't see him, so we appreciate that. When we go back and watch the film, we'll definitely do it. People are talking about, Jamison's pick. I don't care how he gets it. Sometimes you got to be in the right place at the wrong time, I guess, or right place at right time. Jamison picked right place, right time, blitz off the edge, caused bad throw that Jamison benefited after the tip. He got beat multiple times in coverage. Again, I think we'll see what we get from. I'm not going to beat up Jamison. Hell, he's the one that started it off with a touchdown with a block punt. And he actually caused 2 touchdowns tonight. Gave you 14 points on the special teams side and on the defense side of the ball tonight.
Did.
But we'll see that coverage next week. There's guys fighting for that job, man. And like, Steve Sarkisian says it, there's really no too deep here. The best people will play. So if he thinks that there's a Jameer Johnson out there or a Brooks or a hell, he decides he wants to push out Jalen Gilbo at corner because he has somebody in Janae Barryn at star. That's one of those options, man. But again, these guys are going to fight for their jobs each and every day. I'll
have to go back and look at the film, but if ULM only got 3 explosive pass plays, which is a pass play over 15 yards, 1 of 23, 1 of 24, and 1 of 46, I don't know how he could have got consistently beat. Maybe it was one play and it just looks like it stood out, but they only had 3 pass plays over 20 yards. And like you said, I'll have to go back and we'll look at the coverage numbers and see exactly what it was. I didn't see near as much press man coverage as I thought I was going to see, but maybe they're saving that weapon for Alabama. Maybe they're saving that look for Alabama, but not a whole lot of explosive plays at all. I think, they had 4 total explosive plays, a 23-yard run, a 23-yard pass, 24-yard pass, and then a 46-yard pass towards the end of the game. So I just don't know how he consistently got beat if they're not like really putting any explosive plays up against our secondary.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you here, Glenn. In my opinion, it rewards bad play and coverage by a receiver quarterback making a mistake. Again, I'm not giving Jamison excuses. He's been here long enough that he needs to play consistent football. What I'm saying is punt block in a pick 6 tonight went your way. Got you 14 points with a Keelan Robinson touchdown at the beginning of the game. But again, it's one of those things. If he's definitely a high risk, high reward guy, player. However, I'd rather consistency versus a guy who could make a touchdown and give up a touchdown on any given play. I get it. But if he's your best other corner that he's going to wind up playing here, and obviously that's where they think he should start. But we'll kind of see as this season goes on.
GP fingerprints if we could pull that one up real quick. It was just I don't again, if this defense improves, Gary Patterson's going to have a lot of love thrown his way, and deservedly so. He's a great defensive mind. We're lucky to have him on the staff. Steve Sarkisian said that multiple times. I know this defense looks like it wants to run to the football again, and I'll shout out Queen, and I'll shout out Keandre Coburn. Anytime you can get to the sideline and be the first, wasn't the first guy there, but there was a missed tackle on the sideline, and who's there 99 to clean it up. This defense looks like it's running to the football. This defense looks like it wants to get into the backfield and cause havoc in both the run and pass game. Schematically, I think there's been some players move. Again, I talked about Collins on the depth chart has now moved back inside like he was as a freshman, where I thought he should have stayed initially. I don't know if that's Gary Patterson doing that. I saw a lot of what I thought was Gary Patterson when you would take Jalen Gilbo from that star position, or I think they're calling it spur position. Not sure. It said spur on the depth chart. We've known it as a star for a while, and just splits the quarterback from that short corner. I know he liked to do that at TCU. I'm seeing us create pressure, and again, it's ULM. We got a really good litmus test next week when we face a team like Alabama. But there's diversity in the defense, a lot of diversity in the defense. Now, I'm going to have to sit down and watch the film and count how many times they got in a 3-man front, count how many times they got in a 4-man front, how many times there were only 2 linebackers. Were they always in nickel? Do they always have 5 defensive backs? It's hard to say when you start a post-game show 5 minutes after the game ends exactly. But macro look, that's what I saw from this defense against ULM that makes me think that him and Pete Witkowski and probably Steve Sarkisian had a discussion on how exactly they could diversify this defense and make it put more pressure on the offense.
Oh man, so I think he said this like 3 times. Did this team play like a team that upsets Bama this coming week? Again, any team can upset any team on any given weekend. To be honest with you, hell, the directional Michigan team gave Michigan State all they wanted for 3 quarters. Appalachian State gave North Carolina all they wanted for 70 points. Texas A&M,
Michigan, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Texas A&M went up, went into halftime 17-0 over Sam Houston State University. So if you show up and the ball bounces your way, I think in those games the ball has to bounce your way. You have to have things that happen tonight, interceptions and return for touchdowns, block punts, make field goals. All 3 of the defense, offense, and special teams has to show up in those things. The ball has to bounce your way to beat a team like Alabama. That's why they're number 1 in the country. Hell, you've seen what Georgia did to Oregon tonight. I can tell you, Lanning was in some deep water real early there, man. He realized what it was like to be a head coach. He looked sick on the damn sideline in the 3rd quarter when it was getting out of hand. He had never been a head coach before. So again, do I think Steve Sarkisian will have a good game plan? Do I think they've worked on this game plan probably since spring of how they're going to attack Alabama? Absolutely. But, we'll kind of see how it goes.
So I'll use Texas expression that they put out, and I guess this is going to be the new slogan, put the ball down. When they put the ball down next Saturday at 12 noon, Alabama will probably be a 14 to 17 point favorite. They are worthy of being a 14 to 17 point favorite on the road against Texas. But we've seen many 14-point favorites lose football games to opponents when that opponent has home field. I don't know if a 52-10, again, Louisiana Monroe, this game could have very easily been 52-3. And I don't know what scoreline, what performance Texas could have put up to have fans feel comfortable that they could compete with Alabama and beat Alabama next Saturday. Again, they're entitled to that 14 to 17 point favorite that they're probably going to be. And like Clint said, we're going to have to go out there and play a very efficient ball game on both offense and defense. Penalties are going to have to be kept to a minimum, and you're going to you're going to feel a lot of pass rush. You're going to want to jump off sides. You're going to want to hold probably Will Anderson when he's flying by you. And you might necessarily have to protect Quinn, because from what we saw tonight out of the number 2 quarterback, you really don't want to face or have to face that dilemma next week. But that being said, they're entitled to that 14 to 17 point favorite that they're going to be. You're going to have to play a pretty much mistake-free football game, but I'm never going to say they can't find a way to win it. And I just don't know what storyline that you would look for to out of this football game that would have made you feel better or worse.
Yeah, I can tell you, Brandon. I can tell you, me and Jeremy both got Alabama. I mean, Texas losing this year to Alabama. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We have us going 8-4, and so that's about as realistic as you can get that we're going to lose to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? The question was, how do you beat Alabama coming off this win? The ball bounces your way. You play really good on offense. You play really good on defense, and you play really good on special teams. And you're at home. You have an opportunity to beat anyone in any game, regardless of who the opponent is and who it's against. So I look at it like this. Me and Jeremy, I'm going to tell you, when we do our predictions this week, we're probably going to have them as a loss. You know? Now, what that spread is, as far as, how many points they're going to lose by, that'll probably come at the end of the week. But being realistic, you got the number one team coming into your home, and they look really good this year. So on paper and everything else, man. So,
and that would be my question: is you got teams like number 6 A&M, and I watched the first half of that game, and then of course we started our thing, and Sam Houston State was trailing them on the road by 17 points. And I've got a feeling they're the number 6 team in the country, according to some people, whether it's press or coaches, right? They're in that top 5 area. But I got to venture to say, if Alabama walked into Kyle Field next Saturday at noon, that they would have just as big of a problem as the University of Texas would in trying to beat them. Again, you've got a talented roster. Again, I don't like to lean on blue chip ratio and this, that, and the other. But according to 247's composite, you got the 6th most talented team, the most starred team in the country. And I again, part of my 8-4, 9-3 prediction, there was a loss in there to Alabama. But again, I'm not basing that on anything or that I saw tonight, again, especially when I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it and figure out what went right and what went wrong. I'm just pretty much going off the top of my head and looking at statistics and trying to remember specific plays in the ball game. And we had more good than we did bad. And again, like Clint said, you got a whole lot of freshmen and sophomores out there trying to play their first collegiate game. The sophomores with any, action, and the freshmen being brand new. So like I say, nothing out of this game really makes me feel better or worse against Alabama.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's ULM. You did what you were supposed to, man. You were go out there and cover the spread. They say good teams cover the spread, right? So cover the spread. So we'll kind of see where it goes from here. Like to see what Steve Sarkisian's comments are from after the game. Kind of see what's going on there, and then being you'll kind of look at some PFF numbers, and then we'll start doing our Alabama homework, and then start putting out content for the Alabama of the week, man. Which I'm really excited. I don't know if I'm getting work done this week.
I really do like Scooter's thoughts here. Again, like you said, Clint, anybody can beat anybody on any Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, depending upon what league you're watching or collegiate, conference you're watching. We can beat Alabama at home with Sarkisian on the headset, but let's enjoy the college football's worlds being on us all week and on Saturday for game day. The recruits are going to love it. You're going to have everybody there enjoying that game day experience. Those 23 recruits, the 24 offers went out this week. Anybody and everybody that's affiliated with the University of Texas, recruit-wise, is going to be there this week. You're going to have game day. You're going to have Big Noon Saturday there. Like, I don't know where these guys are going to set up, probably right next to each other. Bevo Boulevard's going to be lit. Just like you said, just enjoy this week of build-up, because it's been a long time since Texas has been in a game like this. I don't know if you're going to find yourself in the AP ranking. You already were in the coaches poll, but it's the first time in a long time, probably since LSU, that we've hosted this kind of caliber of opponent at home And it's weird that it's going to be on 12 noon kickoff, but hey, it makes for a shorter day for Texas football talk. I tell you that. We could be done and off by post game by 5 o'clock, and just enjoy everything for what it's worth. And that's the number one team in the country is coming to your place to put a whipping on you. Let's see what your young, talented football team could do in response. Oh, me?
Text 25. No, text 2005, $2 here. What grade would you give Sorrell? Again, it's kind of without having to, go back and watch him specifically. I can tell you he's one sack. He's one sack from being your sack leader from last year after the night.
You said a sack and a half, and I want to see if that number gets changed because I know there was a lot of activity around the quarterback when he got that second one, but I gave him full credit, and he kind of got up and did the two like I got to. I could see split that sack, but I think that sack was his alone. And I think you were going to go into, like you said, if it happens to be two, then he's a half sack away from being what we had as the leader last year. And I think they were throwing out comparisons on the broadcast to don't remember who it was, but just talking about the next great pass catch, pass rusher in the program. I know it wasn't Arakpo. I know it was somebody else, but and then Jermichael Finley comparisons getting thrown out for Jatavian Sanders, and I think that fits. I think we said that. We got asked that before. Is he probably the most talented pass catching tight end Texas has had since Jermichael Finley? And I would say absolutely.
Steve Sexton, Texas is going to have to run the ball 40 plus times and effectively to stay in the game versus Alabama. I believe that. You got to run that. You got to control the clock. You really do. So to me, it's honestly, it's get the ball to Jatavian Sanders, on tight end screens. It is get the ball to Bijan Robinson on screen passes and let him make a guy miss. And it is line two backs up in the backfield and let them run the ball and control the clock. That's one of the things you have to do. And we'll get into the keys to the game versus Alabama, but controlling the clock and obviously running more plays than you did tonight is a successful way to keep yourself close in that Alabama game.
Yeah. So I assume it's Barryn's father. Barryn Sorrell was in our last chat and threw in a super chat, $2 saying 88's the truth or 88's going to have a big game. And again, he was my breakout player for the year on defense back when we did our position previews. Pretty easy to see, his influence on the game in the last couple of games last year, the regular season, his influence on the game during the spring game. To me, it was like this kid, along with Murphy, if they start playing in concert together, can really make some things happen. And I was very, very impressed. And the grade I would give him, going back to the original question, was probably A. A plus is probably giving him that second sack. But this kid, I don't think it stops here. I think this is just the starting point for Barryn Sorrell. I think there's another level to his game that he can get to, and I'm very, very impressed with his pass rush abilities.
RJ Woodyard, I thought the offense kind of looked kind of clunky tonight. Hope to smooth itself out. I will not disagree with you. In the first couple of drives, it looked really, really, really clunky, and I don't know if it's just them trying to get. Obviously, Quinn Ewers wasn't the only young guy out there. Jatavian Sanders was making he's played a lot of football, but he's making his first start at tight end tonight. Offensive lineman, 2 true freshmen. I think, to me, it looked really clunky, but as the game went on, they kind of figured out who they wanted to be and where they wanted to go. It just didn't feel like – I think what I was ready for is a couple of wow moments from Bijan tonight, that I necessarily didn't see. Yeah.
Everybody wants the post route to Worthy, the 9 route to Worthy. They want Bijan to bust 30, 50. I thought they were very efficient. And again, I saw spots in the game where I thought it was clunky. It was really messy when number 1 came in at quarterback. Like that whole operation got really, really sloppy. And I think I commented during the chat about it. But efficiency, right? They scored 14 points in the first. That first drive, we understand, pick, kind of had to settle Quinn down. 10 points in the second. 21 points in the third, and that was all the first-team offense because I'm pretty sure when Card and the second unit came in, they didn't put up any points in the third, and that was probably halfway through. and then you put up the 7, points with the touchdown run by Jonathan Brooks. And again, I recognize that 7 of the 14 in the first quarter were on special teams, and 7 of the 21 in the third quarter were on the defense scoring you a touchdown. And I would agree there was times when we looked a little bit. I would use that word clunky. I think that's accurate. But I think if folks saw Bijan bust a big run, and Quinn hit Xavier Worthy on a deep route, they missed on a couple. I think they're walking out of this game feeling a little bit different. It felt like Jatavian Sanders and Quinn Ewers were moving the football down the field. Because, again, Whittington, for a long time, didn't have a reception. It took him for a long time in the game to get his first. He ended up with 3. But that's probably why it felt a little clunky. The guys that you expected to make big plays and to have big games. And, again, 111 yards on 13 touches by Bijan Robinson is pretty doggone good. That's about 9 yards a touch, right? So you'll take that. And, again, you got him out of the game. Only put 13 carries plus, receptions on his body and got him out of the game pretty early. But I can definitely see without him making big plays and without Xavier Worthy getting hit on a deep pass, why folks would think that it did look clunky and unorganized. But, again, only 5 penalties by the offense, only that 1 turnover very early in the game. It only took them a long time before they punted. So I'd say they were pretty efficient on offense, but, yeah, clunky at times.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, for the victory tonight, and we haven't asked for it yet tonight. If you would not mind, I'm sorry, I just hit that. Consider clicking the like button. We want more Horns fans to see these videos in the feed, build this community, etc. Again, we had gained quite a few subscribers in the feed. I mean, in the live chat tonight, quite a few members. We definitely appreciate that. But if you would not mind hitting that like button, there's 127 people in here watching right now, and there are 45 likes. I absolutely agree with the long ball. Again, I don't know if it's so much rust or if it's so much kind of just him wanting to make that perfect play. Oh, shit. Is that the way you wanted?
No. I was going to click the one you were talking about,
Okay.
But that one popped up.
Yeah. So I think, like Jeremy said, if we would have hit that, it would have been beautiful tonight. But again, it may be him amped up. I think at one point on that last one, I think Xavier Worthy, may have, tripped a little bit, may have got his eyes in the lights. But yeah, I'd have been happy to see Quinn Ewers hit, one of those long balls as well. But I guess we'll have to wait till next week to see it.
Yeah. And like Austin said, maybe, like I said, if the checkdowns, like you get to a certain point and you come over and you're 0 for 2 and you threw a pick and coach says, settle down, like let the offense come to you. But he has that potential to hit that big. And that's why he's starting, right? Sark said that just, I don't know if it's during the all access or the sit down with Craig Way that he does weekly at Pluckers. But he said, when I call a play, I don't have to worry about if Quinn Ewers can make that throw. And that's the great thing about it is he trusts his arm enough. He trusts Xavier Worthy's speed. I'm sure he trusts any wide receiver in there that could beat his man to get the ball on a long pass to him. But at the same time, you don't want him forcing those throws, right? You want him to just move the offensive along. If a 6-yard reception to Jatavian Sanders, and we said this all fall, like he has to be okay with taking the 6-yard reception to Jatavian Sanders and letting him move the chains. He has to be okay with dumping the ball down to Bijan Robinson and letting him move the chains. Again, they're sexy. Believe me, that's what sold me as Quinn Ewers being the starting quarterback was him and Isaiah Nair on that deep post in the spring game, because we were there for that. And I was like, all quarterbacks can't make that throw, especially when you looked at what Thompson and Card did with Worthy running free in the secondary last year, leading him out of bounds. So the last thing you wanted to see was those get missed. But at the same time, I think the potential is there for him to hit those, and I just don't want him forcing them. I think forcing that ball to Xavier Worthy coming across the middle on that first drive is what caused the interception. And there was 3 guys around. There was a lot of traffic. There was up to 6 players, I think. There was 3 receivers and 3 defensive backs, like all in that cluster. And instead of throwing the ball and living to play another down, he threw it to them. So I'm with you guys. Like I want to spread the field vertically. I want to hit those plays to, again, back that defense off. But unfortunately tonight we missed all 3. But I think they'll get better at it. And I just like the fact that he'll dump it down and let Jatavian do his work. He'll dump it down and let Bijan do his work, and then try to grow this. Again, this is the first game as a true freshman in my mind. First game, true freshman. Went out there, went 16 for 24, 225, 2 touchdowns in 2.5 quarters.
I think what's more impressive, he did it after he went 0-2 and threw an interception his first 2 collegiate throws. That's what's impressive to me.
That's his demeanor, though. He told you that. He said, I'm the same guy, whether I'm up 5 touchdowns or I'm down 3. Now, I find that hard to believe that you're the same guy, but just saying that he's even keel, don't stress out, palms get a little sweaty, wipe them off on your pants and go play the next play and trust your players. And that's eventually what he did. When he went back out there, he trusted his guys and just got the ball, to them and let them do their thing.
Yeah. How much longer you want to go, brother?
I got 10 more minutes in me. I'm gonna finish this cup. You good?
I'm tired, but we can go. 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
Let me see here. I'm trying to go through some comments here. We got some Georgia guy in here. He's trolling us tonight.
I'll take that attaboy. This is great analysis of QE. It puts his overall game into perspective. And again, I'll have to go back and watch the film. I know the one in the end zone, somebody asked us to describe it because I know the screen. And again, we do that purposefully. Again, we don't want to get in any trouble by YouTube. Like, we like doing this thing full time to just stream the broadcast independently. Like, I don't know if we get in trouble, and I don't want to test those waters. But folks were asking us, like, how close was the pass to Worthy in the end zone? And I think it was probably 8 inches too high. If he gets that ball down probably a half a foot, he hits him. Same thing with the feet getting tangled up at the inside the 5. But Scooter, just to your point, I had to go back and watch the film. I feel like we got it spot on, but we'll be able to tell you more later on in the week when we get a chance to really sit down and watch it.
Server Boy 3000, I know he's been going at it with them in the chat. He's George Bulldog here. Great show. Appreciate you, man, joining us tonight. You kind of keeping it lively in the comments for us. I know we're excited to be joining the SEC. It's one of those things I can tell you that we're ready to go that way because in the Big 12, when you do these shows, win, lose, or draw, there's not a lot of other fans that come into our live streams. But when you play a team like Arkansas, like we did last year, I think we had close to 10,000 views because I want to say probably 70% of them were Arkansas fans. But we appreciate you showing up tonight. He's probably on East Coast time like I am, and we're sitting at about 12:20 right now. So we appreciate you definitely joining us here.
Yeah, combinations. I mean, Brandon's got a lot of good stuff that he's throwing out here tonight. Talking about throw was late by Quinn. He just let the ball go. I wholeheartedly agree. And then the route depth. Again, when it's a scramble play, your route tree on a specific side of the field generally gives you a short, an intermediate, and a deep. For some reason, those guys all end up in the same area code. And again, when you show up in the same area code, so does your defender. And then you got chaos, and you see what happens. But I'm just glad he settled down, right? He just settled down and played ball after that.
Yeah. You better not be driving and texting, Queen Bee. Queen B better not be. Let me see here. Sorry for the late reply. I was driving. Hopefully, you're not driving anymore. Sorrell, I'm with Jay. Barryn got 2 sacks tonight. JT and Barryn have been my breakout picks, and they both showed out. I know. I think Barryn was yours, right?
Yeah, Barryn was mine on offense. And I'm pretty sure Jatavian was mine on I'm sorry, Barryn was mine on defense and Jatavian was mine on offense. I'd have to go back and look, though. But I'm pretty sure I think me and Queen are in lockstep on that. The only thing we weren't in lockstep on was Keandre Coburn's past performance. But I am highly, highly happy that he got a sack tonight and looked like he was ready to wreak some havoc this calendar year. Yeah, and Queen.
Sounds like I think she's at home. She says she's made it home from the football game safely. Good. All right. We don't want you texting and driving. All right, that's dangerous, especially on 35.
No, she hit us up during the game. She was actually at her son's. She was and she was planning on being in the chat, but her son didn't have Longhorn Network, so she ended up having to pull Longhorn Network up on her phone and then like mirroring it to the TV. or she would have blessed us with her presence during the game. Probably would have given me a whole lot of stuff every time Keandre Coburn made a play. But like I said, I'm happy for the young man. It's his fifth year in the program. He came back. He wants to be a senior leader. He wants to be productive, and that's exactly what he did tonight. So,
all right, who are you gonna give? I'm sorry about that yawn there. I'm telling y'all. All right, who do y'all? Who do you want to give your game balls to?
On offense, to me, it's pretty easy. And producer asked me earlier tonight who we wanted to put on the thumbnail, and then it was just one of those things that we just went ahead and put a couple of guys on there. But if I had to do all over again, Jatavian Sanders and Barryn Sorrell would have been on the thumbnail as MVPs of the game. And I really love Demarvion Overshown and his new impact and what he could do chasing down from the backside.
I'm gonna go with true freshman in Jalen Gilbo on the defensive side of the ball. I think he made some impactful plays. He showed up. He's a gamer, and you obviously got to go with Jatavian Sanders on the offensive side of the ball. Again, you gave up that young offensive line gave up 1 sack tonight. I think it was probably in the first quarter. After that, they didn't really give up any sacks. So,
all right. So one more time, been a long day. We're going to have one more request before we take off. There's 104 folks in here currently. There's only 62 likes at the moment. So if you would, please hit that like button before we end this thing on your way out, however you could do it. If you have to log out and log back in because you're on a phone, please hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to Texas Football Talk, please subscribe to Texas Football Talk. Again, don't know exactly when our next show is going to be. Clint's got to get back, but I know I'm going to do some studying tomorrow, PFF, to do some analysis. Probably do definitely. I think we're good for a Monday Live. Are we doing Monday Live, or we won't iron those things out. We don't know exactly when we're going to come on next, but set your notification bell, subscribe, so you know when the next show is going to be. Also, probably going to work on another player profile for the 23 class, similar to the Sadir Mitchell video that we did last week. But please, if you'd like to join our inner circle, do that. Just go to our homepage, click the join button, or if you're in this video and can see the join button, just click on that thing. It'll tell you what we offer throughout the season. Really, really appreciate everybody's attendance. I think there's probably post-game shows on the radio. There's post-game shows on YouTube. Please get in those and share your wonderful comments and interact with those folks as well.
That's it. All right. You can find us on Facebook at Texas Football Talk. You can find us on Instagram at Texas Football Talk and on Twitter at TX Football Talk. We appreciate y'all listening as always. We'll see you soon. We're 1-0. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.